Welcome to the Professional Women's Podcast, where ambitious women meet Mia for total well-being. I'm your host, Dr. Peggy Gleason, and I am the creator of the Mindful Eating Approach, conquering emotional eating and transforming eating habits into enhance all areas of your life. We always offer inspiration, education, and motivation. So stay to the end for a special message and incredible offer from Professional Women's Wellness. I'm beyond excited to introduce our next guest. Dr. Pamela Jackson Smith is a powerhouse in life, purpose, and coaching, and mental health counseling for over 35 years of experience. A celebrated women's empowerment expert, author, and keynote speaker, Dr. Pam has graced radio waves, numerous podcasts, prominent business magazines, and the stages of universities and civic organizations. Now, her journey, marked by personal loss, health challenges, and profound reinvention, is the framework for her dynamic blend of personal resilience, professional expertise, and educational excellence. She has elevated the lives of hundreds using her signature formula for creating a life of fulfillment and divine purpose. Through her compassionate, solution-focused coaching, Dr. Pam inspires individuals to turn life's toughest challenges into stepping stones towards a future filled with confidence, joy, and purpose. A Daytona Beach, Florida native and proud Spelman College alumni, Dr. Pam also earned advanced degrees in mental health counseling and counselor of education and supervision. Oh my goodness, welcome, Dr. Pam.
Thank you so much.
I'm so thrilled to have you here. And as we talked about your work, it really resonated with my family. So I am so excited to find out a little bit more about your story and how you got into this.
Okay, well, I'll go back to 2019. In May of that year, my wonderful husband died. And I was a wreck. I didn't know what to do. He had been very, very sick. And so the mourning had started. You know, I was mourning his loss because he was no longer the same person because he was very, very ill. But he made his transition in May of 2019 while I was still working. He was retired, but I was working, and I was trying to figure out what to do. Where's my life going to take me now? We were one in spirit, and now who am I? Am I one half? How can I be made whole? All these questions in my mind. And so as I'm working and trying to work through my loss, in December of 2019, I was walking through in the parking lot on my job, and I tripped and fell and hit my head on an iron bench, and I suffered a traumatic brain injury.
Oh my goodness.
So that sent me on a whole different course now for healing. And I never got to go back to work. I had a lot of problems with balance. And so I entered into vestibular therapy to try to get that balance back. And so I went home from the hospital after Christmas and started with home health care and healing. And then in September of 2020, I had to have open heart surgery.
Oh, no.
And I had the open heart surgery to have a valve replaced. And I had had my valve replaced 33 years before then. And thank God it was a mechanical valve and it lasted that long. So I had to have another valve put in. And while I was in the rehab, cardiac rehab, I contracted COVID. Had a bad case of COVID. I was in isolation for 10 days in the hospital. I finally get to come home, and November, my oldest brother died.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
in December, my youngest brother died. So I had these three losses of men who were very, very important in my life. Then I was healing from the fall and the brain injury and the open heart surgery. And all the time I'm praying and asking God, what am I going to do? And thank God I had a lot of support. Friends and family were right there for me the whole time. And that's why I really believe in the power of community. You're not supposed to live in this world alone. We weren't made for that. We were made for connections and community. But anyway, I started trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I started to think about life coaching. And so I started working on getting some training in that. Even though I have advanced degrees, I had never really run a legitimate business. So I needed to learn about the business aspect as well as doing some soul searching for myself. And 3 years ago, I started my life coaching business, which is called Jack Smith Coaching and Consulting.
This is amazing. I mean, when I think about all the trauma you endured in 2 year period, it's unbelievable where you are now.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I'm sure so many people here watching and listening are like wondering, like, where did you get your strength from? My goodness. I mean, that's a tough one. You had a lot going on.
Yes.
And I know that this, when you mention community and how important it is, how did you get started building that community? How did you get out there?
Well, I have always been a person that people are drawn to for some reason. I can remember from childhood, the kids in the neighborhood coming to my house, and I've had that leadership type of ability. I learned about leadership through my church and the youth ministry. And because I was always so outspoken, always had an opinion, it was really my pastor who saw that in me, and he made me the youth director. He gave me that responsibility. And so I was responsible for running meetings and doing all those things. And so that trait kind of followed me, and going through life, meeting new people. I was always the helper, helping people. So when it was my turn to get the help, when I needed it during my loss and my injuries and, the subsequent healing, it was difficult to let go and let people do things for me. And so I have a lot of friends that I've made over the years. And then I also am a member of a thriving church family, and those members have been there for me. And I'm also a member of a professional sorority, and my sorority sisters have been very helpful. As a matter of fact, when I moved, they took turns packing up my house and then moving my stuff and unpacking in my new place. So it's been a journey of just making connections and my love for people and helping people.
Oh, this is so beautiful. When you think about your sisters in love
Mhm.
and your church, oh my goodness, it's no wonder you are where you are to have them uplift you. That
Yes.
is really, really beautiful. Now, I know that, of course, the biggest changes that we can anticipate in our lives is a loss of a spouse or even retirement. There are so many women that are
Yes.
over 50, right?
Yeah.
That are just sort of lost. Their identity was declared by being a spouse and by being in a certain position at work.
Mhm.
So, talk to me a little bit about that because it does seem like most of your clients are over 50 and they're women.
Um, when I think about the loss of identity, that is something that I was really something that I had to face because now that I'm no longer a wife, who am and what I did, and I use myself as an example because this is something that helped me on my journey. I had to go back and start figuring out what is it that I liked because my
Mhm.
husband and I enjoyed so many things together, and so now it's just me. So what do I like? Do I really like reading? Do I really like going to the beach? And so those were some things I kind of rediscovered because I live not far from the beach and I just love the beach. And my husband didn't care for it much because of the sand. But I had to start taking a look at some of the things that I like. I had to do an assessment of my strengths. What are some areas where I need to improve? And I got help from a life coach to help me with some of those things. And so then my identity started to emerge again. Someone called me right after my husband died and said, "Well, how does it feel to be single?" And I said, "Well, I don't feel like I'm single. I'm a widow.
Mhm.
It's not the same because when I was single, I had never been married. I didn't get married until I was 45. And so I was married for 18 years. And so I just assumed my identity as a widow for whatever that meant at the time. And because of that, I am drawn to other widows because I want to help them on their journey so that they can make progress toward realizing whatever dreams they may have and they can experience having a whole life again.
Oh my goodness. It's interesting that you were actually single till 45. So you
Yeah.
accomplished a lot during that time. So you did have a couple identities there, you know, but I'm so moved by all of what you do. Now, I know you had mentioned it's never too late because I know a lot of widows kind of, it takes time to go through the grieving process. And,
Mhm.
when is it the best time for them to come? Is it after they have gone through the shock and the grieving process, or is it pretty soon after? Or what would you say about that?
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime that they realize that I need some help with
Mm.
with this journey. I need someone to lean on. I need some guidance. I need to find myself again. Um, because as we get older, it's harder to make friends because of trust
Mm.
issues. We've gone through so much life and
Yes.
we've accomplished a lot. We have had pain and suffering and all these things. And so when we think about connecting to somebody new, it's not as easy as it was when we were little girls playing on the playground and you meet somebody for the first time and they become your best friend. It's not that easy for us. And so I would advise any widow at any point where you are ready to explore what life can be now. If you're ready to grow, if you want to experience joy, that is the time to reach out.
That is great. It's good to know that, because I think a lot of women are thinking, well, maybe when I'm able to talk about it, or they'll wait a little longer because they're afraid. They're just so withdrawn from the world, and I imagine it it must be quite a challenge when somebody first comes into the room and their husband just died a couple weeks ago, for them to even talk about it.
Yes. And I highly recommend grief counseling because I went through grief counseling and I was fortunate because one of our local hospitals features a program and it's free to anybody in the community. And the counselor is amazing. So I had someone to cry with and um, share my fears with and all those kinds of things. And it's like a 6-week program. And
Oh,
it was
wow.
very good for me so that I could really face my emotions and get some of that stuff
Mm,
out.
mm.
I highly recommend that. And then moving into coaching.
Oh, that is
Uh,
such good advice. Such good
yeah,
advice. I
yeah.
was wondering about the grief counseling, because I
Mhm.
know that is very important for many for many reasons.
Yeah.
But that is amazing. Um, so, do you have I know you're a speaker, and are there certain organizations that are resonate best with you to speak at?
Well, I mm, I like speaking at churches.
Okay.
I like speaking for women's groups and for senior groups.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yes, for
It
senior
gives
groups.
us an idea where to point this podcast to let them know you're here. Like, we need to
Yes,
get this word out, right, everybody? Um,
yes,
this is so valuable, and something that I will be honest with you, I have not seen in all of the people that I've worked with. Uh, it is a specific niche, and it's so needed. So, do you have groups, and or do you do more one-on-one? I mean, what is the structure of how you get offer your services? I know you have a community, but is there, other type of things you promote?
yes. I do one-on-one therapy, and right now I have 3 slots open for one-on-one therapy, and I also do groups. I don't have a group right now, but
Mhm.
I'm preparing to
Oh,
work
good.
with 2 churches to do a 12-week group program called Hope Renewed. And I'll be doing those. And one is local and one is in the Midwest. And I can do those virtually. And if they're local, I could do it in person. But and I felt led by God to work with widows because as I communicate with other widows, I can see how I can help them because I'm one,
Yes.
and I used to feel like maybe I wanted to work with retirees and I still can work with any woman with any issue because I have that background. But
Sure.
but my heart right now is for the widow. And the Bible tells us as a church we are supposed to take care of our widows, and I definitely want to do that.
Oh, there's such a beautiful calling. Beautiful calling.
Yeah.
Um, Now, it's if somebody came to you and said, "Okay, I'm so overwhelmed. Now I have to move, or I have to do this, or I have to do." There's a lot of things I have to do. In your case, you had your sister, so to speak, to
Mhm.
help you. You had a community to help you decide. But you know, it's sometimes I see widows really not knowing where to start, you know,
Mhm.
other than joining a community or getting grief counseling. But there's the physical things that need to go on, right? You said like you had
Right.
to move, or people may say, how do I give away his or her clothing and things like that? That's a big deal
Yeah.
to do these things to acknowledge they're not there anymore.
Right.
And I'm wondering if someone said to you, where do I start with organizing my life again? You know, I want to get out of this depression. How do I organize my life outside of the community?
Well, what I do in my coaching practice is I get to know as much about my client as I can, and I have some questionnaires that I use,
Okay.
and then we address the internal issues that we need to address first, because we know that we all have these belief times that keep us stuck, and so we look at some of those limiting beliefs and how to fix that. And then we set up a goal. And it's a client focused goal, not my goal, but I work with the client to come up with the goal. And then we work on a plan to implement that goal. And we go step by step with me hand holding and supporting and encouraging her.
Oh, the partnership is
The
so
partnership.
immensely important for
Yeah.
anyone going through any kind of thing. And what a beautiful way to walk into their next chapter.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Now, I'm sure that when you're on these podcasts and people, it's like, wow, there's something like that out there. I'm assuming you work virtually for many of the people. Okay, good,
Yes.
good.
Even
And
some of the people who are local prefer to have it
yeah,
virtual.
yeah, no, that's good because it makes it available to more people that need your services.
Yeah.
Um, so how do they get in touch with you?
Well, I have a website, and you can reach out to me on my website. It's www.drpamsplace.com.
Oh, I like that. Dr. Pam's place. Sounds
Yes,
cozy.
drpamsplace.com. Also, they can reach out to me through email, and my email address is drpam@drpamsplace.com.
Well, we're going to have all these links, all the
Yes,
links that you need in the portion below this podcast, because we want to make sure that people do get in touch with you if this is what they're looking for. Um, Now, do you have a little gift or anything for anybody that's listening today?
yes, I have something that's called the Mourner's Bill of Rights. When I ran across that, I was so in awe because I had never even heard of it.
I
But
never did.
it's a document that has um, the rights, the right to feel your emotions, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so I have a copy of that you can take it and hang it on your wall, print it out and hang it on your wall, or put it in your journal or somewhere to remind yourself that as a mourner, you have rights. People, when they know that you've had a loss, they don't know what to say. And sometimes people can say things that are offensive to you,
Hmm.
and
Yes,
if you're offended, you have a right to be offended, and
absolutely.
So that's what I'm offering today.
That is so valuable. When you said you can put it up where you can see it, and I'm thinking, the refrigerator.
Yeah.
You got to have
Oh,
it on your
yes,
refrigerator.
that's where we put things.
That's what you're going to visit most during the day, not the wall in the bathroom,
Yes.
the bedroom rather. Oh, that is amazing. Well, I cannot thank you enough for being my guest today. You have shared invaluable information for all the women out there who have suffered a loss, the greatest loss you can imagine. And I know that they are going to get in touch with you once we send this out. But thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me. This has been wonderful.
Oh, this is great. Thank you. What if food wasn't the enemy, but just a messenger? You're not weak or broken. You have just been coping with emotions the only way you knew, through food. Stress eating after work, sugar cravings when exhausted, guilt after giving in again. Well, when you pause, breathe, and tune in, you shift from survival to self-awareness. You eat with intention, not impulse. You feel back in control. Healing starts with one mindful step, and I want to offer you a free access to my exclusive programs inside my school community. A supportive space where created specifically for professional women just like you, who are tired of the guilt, confusion, and the all or nothing approaches to food and body confidence. And here's what you'll find inside: courses that help you understand patterns and break free from emotional eating, and finally feel in control without dieting or calorie counting. Live group coaching and office hours to get direct support and personalized feedback from me. You'll also see workshops, challenges, and bonus resources on sleep, stress, mindful eating, metabolism, and more. A private community where women who truly get it, no judgment, just support. If you want to open your eyes to freedom from food, let this be the first step that opens the door. Let's work together and create a lasting peace with food and your body. All you have to do is join my Stop Emotional Eating School group by clicking the link below, where women are ditching guilt and reclaiming food freedom. Make peace with your plate today. Just click on the link, or it's professionalwomanswellness.com. I'll see you at the other side.